Hi everyone, welcome back to another Finance Friday. This is Elise here, Plan with Elise, and in today's video, we're going to be setting my February budget. Now I have to tell you, I've tried to make this video multiple times, not just tried, like I've filmed this video a lot, not in this year, sorry, my slipper just fell, but in 2020, I think I made like 4 or 5 of these. And here's always where I get held up in terms of sharing it. Number one, haven't always been comfortable sharing my income. The reason that I'm comfortable-ish, not really, comfortable-ish sharing it in this video is because the number I'm going to be sharing with you is not one source. So I work a full-time job. The money that I'm going to be showing you is not my take home from that job alone. It has combinations of that job, YouTube income, Etsy income, affiliate income, all the things I'm doing Plan with Elise, plus my regular job as a combination. The other part of it that, to be completely honest with you, that I wasn't really always comfortable showing were what my bills were. I know that we all have different living situations, and so I moved several times last year. I was living alone where I was taking care of all of my bills. I was living with a spouse at one point where my bills had changed, and then for the last 4 months of 2020, I was living with family where, aside from my actual bills, I didn't have any housing bills. And so I was afraid, being like totally transparent, that if I had made a video saying, here's my budget, but I'm not paying rent or mortgage or utilities or cable or blah, 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 people would have been like, well, that's not really helpful because you don't have as many bills. So right now, here I am, 33 years old, living on my own again, with multiple sources of income and with a lot of bills. So even though I'm still a little bit uneasy about this, I want to show you in case maybe it'll help you figure out how to set a zero-based budget. So if you don't know, a zero-based budget is where every dollar of your paycheck has a place to go, so that if you give every dollar a place and a job, you'll never wonder where your money went. Okay, that said, I'm going to take a deep breath and we're going to get into this. So the first thing that I do, I just take, here are the steps you need, the tools you need to make a budget. A calendar, a calculator, I like a pen and a pencil, and pieces of paper. I love my budget planner. That everything will get transferred over into that. But for the prep work, this is solely about the basics. So the first thing that I'm going to do is write down my monthly bills. So my rent is $16.95 per month. Then my health insurance is $300 per month. I'm not insured through my job. My PSE&G, which is electric here in New Jersey, I don't know exactly what that's going to be yet because I haven't lived in my apartment a full month yet. I'm going to budget $70. I'm hoping that'll be about accurate because heat is included. So I'm really only just paying for electricity. So that's an estimate. I know what it was in my old apartment, which was smaller than this one. So I may have to figure out what to do if I need more money than that. I'll have to borrow from somewhere else in my budget. And then my car insurance is $88. My car lease is $307. Sorry, I'm saying so much. My internet is $76. I don't have cable. I cut cable years ago and never looked back. So my internet is $76. I do have Hulu for a special of $2 per month because I got that as a Black Friday deal. And Netflix is $15 per month. So if you're wondering what I watch, it's Hulu and Netflix, which costs me $17 plus the $76 for internet. Okay, so next up, I'm going to put this aside and then I'm going to play around with another sheet because aside from bills, there's other things that I need to spend money on or save money for, etc. So I'm going to make that list. First up is groceries. Then is spending, which is just non-categorized spending. Not at this point, I don't categorize my spending into like clothing or household really, or things like that, because I don't buy clothing every week and I don't buy things for the home every week. So, or even every month. So for now, it's just kind of all in one spending category. Then I give myself also a miscellaneous budget per month where these kind of fall hand in hand. I'll first spend my spending money and then miscellaneous will kind of fall after that if I need to. I do give myself a fun budget. I did it in January and I'm doing it for February. I haven't spent any money from January yet because, pandemic. But when the time comes and it's safe for one of my friends to say, hey, let's go to dinner. I haven't been to a restaurant since March, but they say, let's go to dinner and we feel comfortable and safe. I want to be able to say that I feel like I have that money to go and have that dinner or, something similar. Then my Roth, this is my retirement account. I have a goal for 2020 to max out my Roth, which is a $6,000 maximum contribution. I have until tax day, so April 15th, to contribute to my 2020 Roth. So it's a prior year contribution. My savings, medical needs, I put money aside every month for medical stuff, even if I don't use it. Car, I mentioned that I have a car lease. That lease ends in May of this year, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I don't know if I'm going to buy my car. I don't know if I'm going to lease another car, but I put aside money every month towards whatever that will end up being because there will definitely be fees associated with it. And Go Wild, I'm putting aside money for Go Wild. I don't know yet if it will happen in June or not, but let me just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I took some notes on the side so that I could kind of walk through this all with you. All right, so my income, when I subtract these bills from my income, I'm left with $2,025 to allocate to these areas. So I'm giving myself a $200 a month grocery budget, which is fine for one person. Remember, I'm one person. I know that a grocery budget of $200 is not a lot at all, but for me, it absolutely works. I make lists ahead of time. I meal prep. I look at coupons. I shop the circulars, and I do my meal plan based on what's on sale. Also, $200 a month for spending, which is $50 a week. That includes gas. Not going many places. Maybe I spend $20 a week on gas, but even if I do spend $20 a week every week on gas, that only gives me $30 extra to spend. Miscellaneous will be $100 for the entire month. Fun will be $50 for the entire month. Roth, like I said, is a big savings goal for this year. So I have it kind of mapped out for each month, and February is going to be a $700 contribution. My savings is going to be a $500 contribution. Medical is $100. Nothing's really, hopefully nothing comes up. Who knows what happens medical wise, but I've been contributing consistently to that. And car, again, is something I've been contributing consistently to, as well as Go Wild. So the reason that I sort of prepped these numbers ahead of time and didn't walk you through this would be a very long video. But here's the deal. When you are looking at the things that you want to save for or places you want your money to go, maybe you have growing children and clothing is a budget that you need to have every month. You look at what's left when you subtract your bills from your income, see what's left. For me, it was this number, and then you figure out what's a doable number for the remaining money that's left. As the year goes on, this will change for me. So maybe if we were in September, I would be having a holiday budget in here where I would start to contribute to the holidays. Because I don't need a huge holiday budget, I have a big family, but we don't all shop for each other, and I don't need a massive holiday like Christmas or Hanukkah budget. I don't put it in January. I don't start saving 12 months ahead of the holidays just because I don't really need to. So you have to figure out what works for you. If this was June, my nephew's birthday is in July, I probably would save for my nephew's birthday for his present, something like that. But right now, it's just February. I don't have anyone to buy a Valentine's Day gift for. So this is how I'm able to figure out where that money is going. Okay, now, oh, my calculator I went out and bought this calculator this morning. This is from Target. It's a Casio calculator. I like to use this instead of my phone because number one, I'm filming on my phone, but really number two, I like to push the buttons and it just it works better for me when I'm doing my budget. All right, now is where the calendar comes into play. I just need to always like check to make sure that I'm still filming. We're still filming. Okay. So this is where due dates come into play. My rent, okay, so this should, I'm like confusing myself because the $16.95, by the time February comes, I will have already paid it for February's rent. So this is really saving for March rent, if that makes sense. So March 1st is on a Monday. I get paid on Mondays. That means that I have 4 paychecks to save for March rent. So if you can see, do you see my calculator? You can. I'm going to do 16.95 divided by 4 equals 423.75. Let's round it up. 424. So that means I have 424 a week for 4 weeks to put aside for my rent. My health insurance, again, is on the 1st, so the same thing. I don't need to use a calculator for that. That will be $75 a week for 4 weeks, and you'll see why I'm making these boxes in a moment. Okay, my electric, when is that due? I don't know yet because I haven't gotten my first bill. My old electric was due on the 15th, so I'm just going to pretend it's due on the 15th and prepare for that, which would be $35 for 2 weeks. My car insurance is the 15th as well. So even though the 15th is on the 3rd week, I want to make sure that I'm allocating money from these first 2 weeks so that by the time this date rolls around, the money is already put aside and I'm not making sure that I'm waiting for anything to clear. So that would be $44 for 2 weeks. My car payment is due on the 25th. Usually it's 3 weeks, but because of the way it falls, I have 4 weeks for that as well, which is 76, 75, let's say 77. Okay, my Verizon is due on the 19th, which means that I have 3 weeks. 20, so let's say 26 for 3 weeks. Okay, and then Hulu and Netflix, I usually just do $1 for each, even though Hulu is due, I think, on the 23rd and Netflix is due on the 30th, which there is none in February, so the 28th, but I'll get into that shortly. Then is where I'm going to rewrite these. I don't know why I wrote them separately before, but let me just write these out. So groceries. I'm going to do this quickly. It's not going to be very pretty. Oops. DICAL. Okay. 200, 200. Now the reason I list these separately is because most of these don't really have a due date. Groceries, I want to do $50 a week for 4 weeks so that I'm able to go grocery shopping every week. And spending, the same thing. Miscellaneous, if I can, I like to have it at the beginning of the month so that it will carry me through the month, but I'm not entirely sure yet. And the rest of these, we're going to kind of play it by ear and see how it goes. Okay, let me move this aside. Now I want to write next thing I'll do is write down my February paydays. So February 1st, February 8th, February 15th, and February 22nd. Okay, and then I'm going to write the things that I know, and this part I'm going to do in pen. I'll do the rest in pencil as long as I make sure that you're able to see. So rent, $424, insurance, $75, PSE&G, $35, Geico, $44, car, $307, Verizon, $76. And then this is where these boxes come in. So now I know I've allocated one of the 4 I need, also groceries and spending. Those are 50 each. Okay. All right, next up is where I figure out my weekly, how much I have left. So when I take my income each week and subtract these bills, that math didn't seem right. Okay, I need to figure out where I messed up with this. Hang on. Okay, you may have already figured this out before I did. I wrote $307 here, which is the total bill amount, instead of the $77 that I need. All right, so after my income, then the bills, I have $302 left to allocate. I'm just gonna write that there while I figure this out. So I could totally do my miscellaneous in full. And now I have $202 left, and I can cross off miscellaneous from here because now I know that that is taken care of. So now I have $200 left. I'm going to do $2 for Hulu. And now I have $200 left. And let me look here. Let's put, let's put $200 into my retirement. Okay, so I'm just going to write 200 here, so I know that $200 have been put aside. And now all of these numbers added up should be my income each week. And again, as a reminder, this is not my income from one job. This is my income from multiple sources of places. All right, next up, let's do the next set. Now, this is going to be repetitive for a couple of weeks, but it's going to change as time goes on because I don't need to save. You'll see. Okay, so 424, 75, let's not mess this up again, 35, 44, 77, 26, 50, and 50. And now I can check off the second box of these to know that those are done, and now I'm finished saving for PSE&G and Geico and Hulu, which is awesome. So let's do the math again and figure out how much left I have to work with. Okay, this time I have $352 left to work with. So let's do Let's do 200 for savings this week. Okay, so now I have 152 left to work with. And is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay. Let's do fun, because who knows what's going to come up. Okay, so now I have $102 left to work with, and now I can cross off fun from this area because that is fully covered. And oh wait, I didn't write savings here. I would put aside 200 for savings. Okay, now out of the $200 this month I want to put aside for my car, I'm going to put 102 away for this week. So 102. And then next to car here, I'm going to write 102. So I still need to put $98 there. And again, when you add these numbers up, they should total your income. All right, third week in February. We have rent, insurance. Then I'm skipping these because I already saved for those. So now I have my car. I'm going to have Verizon. 26, grocery, 50, spend 50. Okay, now I know those are taken care of. Grocery and spend, and then again, the math, not my favorite part. Okay, this time I have $206 left. I don't really understand how that happened. Wait a second, I think I need to redo that. I feel like I would have had more. Oh, because I did it again. Oh my goodness. Okay. This is why you should use a pencil. And this is why this isn't like a pretty easy process. Like this is the struggle that I go through. And sometimes I just like put it in a drawer and I don't look at it for a week because it makes me crazy. Math is not my strong suit. And I make mistakes like that all the time. Okay, there we go. Now I have $431 left to work with. So let's get that 98 taken care of right away. I mean, yeah, the 98 left on the car. So I'm going to subtract 98. Now I have 333. So I'm just going to put a comma here and write 98 to know that I did that. And I'm going to cross off car. Now there's $333 left to work with. So what else is in here? Okay, so let's do 200 to retirement. So now there's 133. And next to my retirement, next to my Roth, I'm going to write 200, which means that next week I have to put aside 300 to make that goal. Savings. Let's do 100. So now I'm going to put 100 here. Now I have $33 left. Let's just make it easy and put $33 towards Go Wild. So I'm going to write 33 here. Okay, last week. So doing the math again. Oh wait, I need to write this stuff down first. I don't have anything to subtract. Okay, so now those are done. There we go. I've easily saved for all my bills, almost. Something's making a sound over here. There we go. Okay. All right, car done. Groceries. And spend. And then I have to put Netflix in here. 50 and 15. Okay, Netflix, cross this off, cross these off. Good. Now final math. Okay, I have 442 left. Now, before I make myself crazy, what I really need to make sure of is that the money that I still have to put aside for these things adds up to 442. So 75 minus 33 equals, so 42 plus 100 plus, I don't think this is gonna work. I made a mistake somewhere. 200 plus 300 is 642. So I'm off by $200. Okay. This is the struggle I run into. Unless I must have made some mistake somewhere. Oh, no, that's not the mistake. Okay, let me write 442 or 642. All right, so somewhere, again, I made an error. Okay. So I think what I'm going to do, because this happens, is I'm going to adjust my Roth and my savings by $100 each for this month. So savings is going to be $400 instead, and Roth is going to be $600, and I will find a way to make up that money, whether it be hoping for more Etsy sales. Side note, I have an Etsy shop if you didn't know, or maybe I can sell some things. I'll figure out a way to come up with that $200. So 442 is the number. Let's finish up. So Roth will be 200. So now that $600 is taken care of, Roth is done. Savings will be 2, 3, so an additional 100. Okay. Done. Medical is 100. Unless I wrote medical somewhere else. No. Okay. Done. And Go Wild, $33. Here's what I would have done if I wasn't on camera. Like I said, math, not my thing. Not good at math at all. Have never been. It's always been a problem for me. So talking and being a little bit anxious about filming this and showing you all of these numbers and all of these details is probably where I went wrong somewhere with the math. I probably would have spent the time to like add all of this up, and I still may sort of do it off camera, but I think that you get the gist of what I did here. Now, here's how it works. I have 2 checking accounts. I get paid into checking. Let me show you. Sort of, we can kind of do like a little doodle here. So my paycheck, which is direct deposit, I get direct deposit for Etsy, my job, YouTube, affiliate income, all of that. Paycheck goes into account A. And then every week, what I'll do is, so on February 1st, I'll move all of this money. Well, I'll move all of it except for these 2 over into account B. Now you're probably saying, why don't you just get paid into account B? Well, there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, it was set up with account A. It's just easier. I don't want to deal with my boss and changing it and all of that. So it just makes sense. And this way it gives me like time every single morning. Not every morning, every week to get this organized. So then I move. So here are the steps. I get paid. It goes into account A. Then I move it into account B and I update a spreadsheet. I know it's on the computer. It's not a paper planner, but I update a spreadsheet. So I have a spreadsheet on my MacBook where it says, let's say, rent. And the first week it'll say 424, and then the next week it'll say whatever 424 times 2 is, it'll say 848. And by the time the first rolls around, I will have the $16.95 saved. So when a bill becomes due, the money goes back into account A and I pay it from there, because my checkbook and my debit card and all those kinds of things are all linked to account A. So consider account B a holding place, right? It's just like limbo of where my money sits until I'm ready to pay it. That when I said except for groceries and spending, what I'll do when I get paid is go to the bank and withdraw groceries, spending, sometimes miscellaneous. I usually don't keep my miscellaneous in cash. So I'll withdraw groceries and spending and have that for the week. And if last week I spent, I think $39 instead of $50 at the grocery store. So I just stored that in a little envelope called groceries so that next week, if I need to, I'll have the 10 extra dollars, or I'll save it for maybe when I want to buy, something different at the grocery store. So that's sort of how this money works. For bigger things like Roth, right? The Roth also goes into account B, and then I transfer it into my retirement account, which is done with a different bank. My savings, which I don't touch, goes to savings account C. I know this all seems really confusing. I'm hoping that this kind of helps. Whoops, that's not a C, that's a G. Okay, anyway, I have two checking accounts and a savings account. So my savings goes into that account. That's money, again, that I don't touch, that has an interest rate that I earn money on. So that's how I budget my paycheck. I hope this was helpful. Again, it feels very vulnerable. It feels very vulnerable for me to be sharing this. So I hope that you got something out of it. Again, a couple of notes I want to make. I'm one person. This is a one person's income from multiple sources. I don't have kids that I'm paying for. My grocery budget is small. I don't have those expenses. I also don't have any debt. So if you're wondering why there's no credit card payments in here, I paid off my debt a couple of years ago. I don't have a ton of expenses compared to the average person, but as you can see here, my expenses are pretty high. So I hope you will be kind in the comments. Again, this is like a totally scary thing for me to do, but I've been wanting to show you this whole setup for a really long time. Next up, I'm going to transfer this all into my budget planner, but this is just the nitty-gritty of how I set up my monthly budget. So please let me know if you have any questions. If it is something where you're like, well, I have debt, how do I know how much to put aside? It's really going to depend on your interest rates. I mean, this is my list of things other than bills, and you'd probably want to take a decent chunk of whatever's left and put it towards that. So that's kind of where I am with that. Maybe it'll be another video one day of tips and tricks for paying off your debt. So I think that's all she wrote. I'm going to go have some coffee now, but thank you so much for watching. If you are not already subscribed to my channel, please take a moment to subscribe. I'm working towards a big subscriber goal, and I will see you next time.